What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about topstep, talking about prop firms in general, how I go about passing evaluation accounts, and just my whole thought process and my strategy or approach when it comes to passing these accounts and earning payouts from them. So really, to start off, I would say the number one thing that you need is confidence in yourself, confidence in your model, and you cannot be afraid to lose. Just that self-confidence as a whole, I would say, is the number one point. Because if you don't believe in yourself, you're going to approach the charts nervous every day. You're going to go into each trading day unsure. And the markets are already difficult enough. It's already a probability game. There's already a certain uncertainty that comes when it just from taking trades day to day, because you never have a full guarantee on what trade will hit. But what you can control is your emotions and your confidence in yourself and your setup. If you put in the work, if you have data behind this model that you're trading and the strategy that you trade, that it will make it a lot easier. So I would say that's the number one thing, having confidence and then not being afraid to lose either. Like 5 topstep XFAs is $250 for combines. And for me, also, this is relative to what you're willing to lose, right? I'm okay with losing $250, say 3-4 times in a row, because I know that once I do pass the accounts, I'll pay like $750 in activation fees, I believe, and then I will earn a payout, which will make all that back tenfold. Losses plus, initial investment, the ROI will always be there, regardless of how many times you failed the accounts. Like when I went 2.5 years prior to earning my first prop firm payout, and literally within 10 days, or I think 11 days, because I had to take a day off. So within 11 days, I made all the 2 years back worth of losses. Within 11 days, I made 2 years worth of losses back, which that should say something. Yes, it's not overnight. It's going to be a long journey. Everybody's journey is unique. Everybody is on their own path. However, that's just an example. And there's people that have people can be unprofitable for 5 years. And all it takes is a couple months to make back everything that they lost times 10. So really just having confidence in that as well, just the process, the work that you put in yourself, and not being afraid to lose the money. I would say that's the main thing, because in trading, your psychology is literally all you have, honestly. The strategy is cool. There's millions of trading strategies that work. People make money on these charts in a plethora of ways. So really, it doesn't matter about the strategy. It comes down to your mental, how you can manage risk, what you're willing to lose, how you can adapt and be flexible within these markets, because without that, then you're going to fail 100%. And it's even something that I've struggled with, like just taking bad setups maybe, or just not being fully self-aware at times, which can be very difficult. It can be deceiving. Your mind can trick you into thinking that you're not emotional, or you're not about to, crash and blow up these accounts. You can tell yourself that all you want, but you until you can really control yourself and you really have a good self-awareness, it will remain an issue. Now, the second point that I want to talk about, aside from just the mental, is like the actual math behind passing these accounts. So with topstep, you can pass these accounts as quick as 2, sometimes 3 days, depending on your consistency, if you make a little bit more. But you see right here, I passed 5 XFAs in the span of 2 days. Now, I trade these XFAs very aggressively. I wait for a very good setup, and once I get that setup with high conviction, I size in decently heavy, initially risking about 5 to 600, and then once I get more conviction, I pyramid into the trade, which is, as you can see on this trade I took today. I put my executions on just so you can see. My initial bias going into the day. Hold on, let me turn this executions off right quick. Where's executions at? Am I tripping? Oh. So my initial bias going into the day, I was waiting to really see price pick a side, because looking at the 4 hour, we have an SMT at the high, we also have an SMT at the low. We had a 4 hour change in the state, but this SMT with ES is what kind of gave me more of a bias. So we had this SMT, ES was holding this bullish imbalance, and Q also is in this bullish imbalance. So I zoom into the 15-minute, since we are in the hourly and the 4 hour. I looked at the 15-minute, just trying to get an idea of where price wanted to go. I noticed that we did have this, what is it, a daily? Or no, it's a 4 hour. We had this 4 hour volume imbalance right here. Once I seen this SMT at the low, holding the bullish imbalance, I figured that this is probably the most high quality draw in liquidity. Since we just have a bunch of imbalances around us, and then even when you measure out, it's measuring the range out, it makes sense. It aligns with discount. Price is more likely to draw there once we get some type of retracement. So I zoom into the 15-minute. I noticed ES already had a change in delivery at the time. ES already had this place above the most recent high, which was right here, and we had put in imbalances. So even though NQ didn't, ES did. We had the SMT plus the other imbalances. Then we had an inversion for value gap, which was my initial first entry right here. I expected NQ to follow ES due to the other higher time frame confluences, and my initial draw would have been this high and then the volume imbalance. However, I got out like right here or something like that. Just once my accounts were passed, I didn't need to make any more money. It was literally pointless for me to try to hold the trade. So that was my initial take profit and stop loss. Now on the trade, because I took it once we inversed the 5-minute. Now we inversed the 3-minute and we inversed the 5-minute. So I took it right here. My initial first entry stopped at the lows. We had an internal sweep of sell side. Instantly delivered through the imbalance. I like the setup. ES had already had the change in delivery as well above this high. I wanted to see NQ deliver. Now once it came like right before market open, I did take off a quarter of my position because I didn't really like the risk initially. Usually when we're going in, like if I'm taking a trade pre-market open, I'm going to take it with less size, just because usually market open will bring a lot of volatility that could wick you out. We have a lot of strong fake outs in the opposite direction prior to going to the true draw in liquidity when it comes to trading off a market open. So I wanted to just de-risk, take off a little bit with that in mind. Where's it at? With that in mind. So that's why you see right here I did take off some. I scaled in because I have a lot of buy orders because I was managing my stop loss and trying to see how much would be a proper risk. So I started out, I think my first entry was 4 contracts. Then I added 5 more because I was only risking like $100. Added another one. I was risking 180 actually. Added a few more, and then I sold off some once I kind of came to my senses. Like, wait, this is pre-open. I shouldn't take this with full size initially. So, because after all these, I was probably risking like 700 to make, the 15. I took off some. My risk then got moved to probably, it was like $400 something, which wasn't bad. It was like $410. So that's something I was fine with initially risking. Then once we got this initial push off open, this is where I added the rest of my position at. I probably added it around here once we appeared that we were about to change in delivery, closer to the end of the 1-minute candle. I'll show you guys. Once the 15-second displaced, you see that was my entry. So 30 seconds into the open, I then also adjusted my stop, moved my stop to this candle low right here. Now, it was a tighter stop, And if I was trading this on a live XFA, I would have probably kept my stop the same, just because recently within the markets, having a tight stop loss has not been the best for me, at least. Price has been doing a lot of back and forth. We haven't been moving that efficient, so it hasn't been the best for me to have a tight stop loss. Now I did today because I seen this candle displace. We formed an imbalance. I felt like we had no reason to come back to this low, especially once we got the change in delivery. ES was delivering. It looked like to this high right here. I was very confident in it. So it's really about having discretion and just time in the market, because that's genuinely all it is. I probably wouldn't have moved my stop to this low if it was a regular trade, but since I was trading to pass my accounts, I didn't want to lose too much. I didn't want to have too much on the table. So once I scaled in, if I would have kept my stop loss down here, the risk was close to $1,000. It was like high 800s, low 9s, which I really don't want to lose that if I'm trying to pass these accounts as soon as possible. Once I moved my stop right here, though, risk ended up being like $300, so it really wasn't bad. That's not really much that I'm worried about losing across the account. So I moved my stop here. Then once we were kind of holding this 1 minute, I went to break even. My fill was actually like this white line, honestly. It was like my fill. It was like a little bit lower, actually. It was like right here. So once I seen this respecting this imbalance, I zoomed into the 15-second. I moved my stop to this low right here. Once we got this displacement back through, I moved my stop to this low. Then once we got this change in delivery on the 15-second, I would have honestly pyramided if I was on a regular account. If these weren't challenge accounts, I would have definitely pyramided, moving my stop to this low and rode that to the volume imbalance, because we had an SMT at first. ES took the high prior to NQ. Let's see what time NQ did versus ES. ES took the high on this candle right here, and where is it at? I'm gonna show y'all. ES took it a few minutes prior, honestly. Yeah, ES took it 2 minutes prior, so it was kind of like hesitation. That's also why I moved my stop to break even though as well, because ES had already taken the high. We put in an SMT, and if price went to reverse, we would have right there. Just based off the SMT, ES already taken the high, and NQ showing a bit of hesitation to continue to displace out of the 1 minute, where we should have had a lot of volume, especially since market had just opened. But you see here, we lagged a little bit, and then we got the rest of that momentum throughout the day. But yeah, I find a good setup. I size into it heavy, and I'm not afraid to lose, essentially. Pass these 5 accounts in 2 days. Hopefully can get a payout by next week. It takes 5 days. It's already Tuesday. Well, I'm gonna be able to trade till Tuesday, so looking to get a good payout by next week. I'll document the whole process through YouTube and just show my thought process day to day, how I manage risk. Now this week is a little bit odd. We don't have any news until Wednesday, I think. There's no real news until Wednesday or Thursday, so we'll see kind of how the market develops going into tomorrow, and just the rest of today, because honestly I was coming into today not trying to take any trades, just because of how no news Mondays usually are. They're honestly a really hit or miss. They're either going to be very, very good, you'll have a setup, you'll have opportunity, or they're going to be very choppy. And if you see going into open, the 15-minute was a barcode, which had already kind of made me want to be de-risked. But then I zoomed in, I seen the setup, honestly too good to pass on. We're coming off an order block here, higher time frame with an hourly fair value gap. Got the inversion, displacing off of 2 higher time frame imbalances, changing the state, very high quality setup. So Mondays are really, they're hit or misses, but I was coming into the day very cautious and patient just due to that. But I'm happy with how it played out. I hope you guys could have learned something. Just to go back over, basically just having you'll never have a bulletproof trading psychology, but to really get your psychology there and be confident within yourself, That is the main thing. Um, Confident in yourself, confident in your edge, and it's not being arrogant either. Don't expect that you're the best trader in the world. Don't think that you can't lose, because the best traders in the world lose. There's no trader that doesn't take losses. It doesn't matter who he is. There's no one on this earth that is a perfect person, even outside of the charts. Like, there's nobody. Like, Michael Jordan missed shots. Um, Tom Brady had incomplete passes. You're not going to connect on every single trade that you take, and you have to go into it with that expectation as well. Because if you look at every trade as if it's going to be a winner, you're going to be disappointed when those losers do come, because losers are part of the game. And if you're disappointed when the losers come, you're not going to be expecting them. You're going to have a higher chance of going on tilt, crashing out, just because you weren't expecting the losers to come. And you should always expect the worst when it comes to trading, so that when it happens, you don't go on tilt, you don't get emotional, and you don't crash out. I have been victim to not being able to control my emotions and crashing out on the charts plenty of times. I know a lot of people have. It's very common for young traders, especially, to just get in your emotions and leave all your rules out the window. Like, stuff happens. I understand that you're human, you're not perfect, but once you're able to maintain your emotions and even just build that confidence when you're within yourself, that makes passing accounts a lot easier. Like, I didn't pass a prop firm account. It took me close to 2 years, a little bit under, to pass an account, and then earn a payout took an extra few months after that. So it's a journey, it's a process. You have to expect to lose, you have to be able and willing to lose, and just accept the lessons and roll with the punches as they come. And really just finding, your A+ setups, taking trades off of them, sizing in, making what you have to make for the day, walking away. And even when it comes to trading on the XFAs, something that I have been doing recently is setting a maximum loss limit for myself on every day. It keeps you from blowing up accounts in a day, because the XFAs don't have a daily loss limit. I think it's just the 2,000, and that's that. I could be wrong, but I don't know. Even if it's not, like, hitting your max loss limit in a day, which is $1,000, is crazy on the $2,000 drawdown. So just setting max loss limits for myself, what I'm comfortable with losing and walking away with on the day, has made trading a lot easier. I don't do it on the XFAs because I am trying to pass them as quick as possible. I'm not trying to sit on them for, days on end. So I don't take the XFAs with that approach, or the evals with that approach. But when it comes to the XFAs, that is something that I do, because it just helps you and it helps maintain your emotions, and it keeps you from having blow up days. It makes it close to impossible to blow up, or at least get on your emotions and blow up. You can still lose accounts, because you can have losing streaks. That happens. That's common. That's normal. But your emotions is your number one thing, and if you have a bad trading day, it's gonna most likely, like, if you crash out on the charts, it's gonna most likely alter how you live and interact with people in real life for the rest of that day, and maybe even the rest of the week. Like, I've been a victim to it. Like, if I have a bad trading day where I know that I did what I wasn't supposed to do, it's gonna affect it affected how I treated people, my mood for the day, how I approach certain things every day. And that's not something that you want to do and want to go through. It's not a good feeling at all when you know that you didn't do what you were supposed to do and you paid the price for it. But at the same time, a lot of people have to go through it. It's lessons that we need, and it's God showing your flaws and showing you where you need to improve on. So you should honestly be grateful for situations like that. But I'm not going to continue talking for too much longer. I think I got everything off that I needed to. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you learned something. I appreciate you for watching, and I'm excited for y'all to see this new journey for the summer, and where we can take our trading. So thank you for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.